All right, new at 9, the Army has soldiers, the Navy has sailors, the Air Force has airmen, and our newest branch of the service, well, the Space Force, they have guardians. Today, Space Force guardian and NASA astronaut Colonel Nick Hague, he joins us in studio this morning, fresh off his 6-month mission to the International Space Station, which orbits the Earth at about 17,000 miles per hour. That's not a big deal. Good morning. Not a big deal at all for him. Good morning to you, Colonel. Thank you very much for coming in. So you're coming back from space, and then now, do you drive around in this DC traffic? Do you do that?
I was battling the DC traffic on 395 last night.
So which one, space or this whole DC traffic?
It's a little more nerve-wracking here in DC.
Well, thank you for sharing some of your time with us this morning. 171 days was the last time you were up.
Yes.
Navigating gravity and all these different things. What was that whole experience like for you? I know you're used to doing these kinds of things, but what was that part like?
So the being able to experience floating around, and it just challenges everything you know about the world around you. And that's why we're up there on the space station, is we're doing experiments in this weightlessness so that everything can float. And when you take away gravity, little things start to stand out, and those little things that we learn about, they really change the game.
Right. Now, to be clear, you were in the Air Force first before you got into the Space Force. So how does that work? Do they come around and they start saying, hey, we got this Space Force going on, do you come over, you can come over here and join us? How does that actually work?
Yeah, to be honest, the mission, the space mission existed within the Air Force. And so then when the Space Force stood up, it brought a lot of that mission and consolidated it. And so then there was an opportunity to raise your hand and volunteer to transfer over. And so I did.
Right, and not much difference, well, other than you're going to space instead of, being down here.
Throughout that entire time, I was assigned to NASA down in Houston, and so I was working as part of the U.S. astronaut corps, learning to fly in space and work on the International Space Station.
All right, so you went up recently on a rescue mission, or a mission.
It was a unique mission.
A unique mission.
Yeah.
You went up with two, it was the two of you, and you came back with some extra, because you had to go get some people.
Yes.
Tell me, just explain to me what that mission was like for you, how you got ready and what it actually was.
Yeah, so it was very dynamic. I had been training for the better part of 18 months as a 4-person crew to do a normal rotational mission up to the space station. And so we were planning on being there for 6 months all along. And then within a month or so before the launch, we needed to create some space because there was some issues with the Boeing Starliner spacecraft. And so Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams weren't going to be able to come home in the spacecraft that they took to the space station. So we emptied a couple seats. And then, I worked with my crewmates that I'd been training all along. They worked with me to figure out how do we launch as 2 people, and then figure out how do you bring down safely 4 people, 2 of which had really never trained to come down in that spacecraft. And so it was a unique challenge. It was exciting.
Was it really though as simple as, okay, we need to make room for 2 more seats? I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it's more complicated.
It's never that simple.
It's never that. But you guys made it happen.
Yeah, it takes a huge team to be able to address all the different things that you need to think about. And I couldn't do that on my own. It takes a cast of 100.
Right. And when you pull up there and you saw them for the first time, what was your reaction and their reaction? Because they were probably like, let's go. I'm ready to get out of here.
Well, so the reality is when we dock, we open that hatch. Alex and I are coming through, and okay, now we're starting our 6-month mission, and you guys are part of the crew. And so we brought them into Crew 9 and integrated them, and then we finished our 6 months up there. So it was really just, we're excited to get here, start the scientific research on the station, and do our 6-month turn.
Okay, all right. Yeah. What's next for you? What's next?
Yeah, so post-flight, I just barely finished my rehabilitation and readaptation. So going up there and floating for so long is hard on the body, and so it takes a while when you get back to be able to readjust. And so I spent the last 2 months in rehab, and so now the next 4 months I get a little bit of a respite, but I also get the opportunity to go out and share the experience with everybody around the U.S.
That's the easy part after all that you've been through, right?
Yeah, it's less painful for sure.
Less painful. All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you for all the work that you do as well on Earth and in space. All right, Jonathan, over to you.